Dear worst manager ever, I really hate having to paint over my mark every time I do one of these. Sincerely, Peacevic. Looks about right. Hey, send this for me, hey! Hello there, I'm Peacevic, and in this video we're gonna see how the legend of Nightmare Moon has influenced the culture of Equestria. But first, a history lesson. 1,000 years before the start of the show, Coolest Princess had a bit of a falling out with her sister. She was tired of no pony realizing how awesome she was. So, naturally, she transformed into, or was possessed by, the terrible Nightmare Moon. And then she was blasted to the moon. With one half of the existing princesses seemingly gone for good, and this after said princess had refused to lower the moon for a time, the citizens of Equestria must have been pretty scared. They'd lived through a monumental event. Is it any wonder they would tell each other stories to explain it? Which brings us to the most notable holiday to come out of this failed rebellion, Nightmare Night. One night a year, or so the legend goes, Nightmare Moon returns to stalk the ponies of Equestria. To appease this dark menace, ponies would offer up various treats, all the while wearing disguises to hide from her searching eyes. These days, Nightmare Night has evolved into an evening of pranks and fun parties, especially with the return of Luna. But it doesn't take much effort to imagine how the ponies of the past would have felt about this most terrifying night. Relatively few equestrians would have known about the elements of harmony, and no pony was present when Celestia used them. From the common pony's perspective, Luna's moon simply eclipsed the sun one day, and when the sun could finally be seen again, all they heard was that Nightmare Moon had been banished. The fact that Nightmare Moon was Luna, Celestia's sister, was lost to common history. Even Twilight didn't know. So odds are good that the folks back then didn't know either. To the generations that followed after, Nightmare Moon was just an evil force that lived in the moon. Who could say whether or not the boogeyman would come back to get them? Well, you can't worry about a defeated foe returning without a defeat in the first place. The Summer Sun Celebration. One of the most revered days on the calendar, the Summer Sun Celebration is proof positive of how much Equestria loves their sun princess. So many lives, and indeed the country's fate itself, have changed through the awe of watching Celestia raise the sun on the longest day of the year. But there's a darker side to the festival, especially for the pony at the center of it. Each raising marks the anniversary of Luna's exile. But there's also an obvious reason for putting it on. As I said earlier, the ponies of the past would have been really scared in the wake of the sisters' battle. A display of certainty was needed, a focal point of Equestria's hope. With this, the ponies could be reassured that their princess would always be there for them. Another outcome of the advent of Nightmare Moon, this one more social and of special interest to Rainbow Dash, was that Luna's fall led directly to the formation of the Wonderbolts. After the battle, Celestia put together the EUP Guard. It was during a demonstration by an elite group of flying aces that the name was coined, and since then they've been inspiring Pegasi with their skill and precision. One final talking point, and this is something I brought up previously. Luna's involvement was almost completely absent from the history books. Even the tome Twilight was reading, the one that tipped her off to Nightmare Moon's return, failed to mention that she was Celestia's sister. No pony knew. How, when so much of Equestria's culture is shaped by this event, was that lost? It's possible that Celestia herself is behind it. Perhaps she didn't want the citizens to think badly of her dear sister, or maybe she wanted to make Luna's possible return and reintegration easier. That could be the case, though if so, it's slightly insidious. But another possibility is simple attrition. Equestria's record-keeping and historical preservation is atrocious. We've only seen a few libraries in the show. One of them is heavily guarded in the Canterlot Palace, one of them is in the middle of a dangerous forest, and one of them blew up. The only source of knowledge when it came to Discord was a stained glass window. It's entirely feasible that the info just disappeared. That's it for this topic. If you think I missed anything, leave a comment below. Don't forget to check out the description for all my links. Maybe subscribe and watch my other stuff. Have a good day.